Good morning. Welcome to IoT North Breakfast Club. Thanks for joining us. I'm Paul Wheels, the founder of IoT North, and I've got some great guests joining us today to talk about dumbing things down and getting communication and helping manufacturing understand the value of IoT rather than the technical intricacies. Just to give you some updates on IoT North, the marketplace is now live. You can have a look at the use cases that we have there. We've got 6-7 use cases already and adding more. If you are interested in sharing your use cases, your IoT solution use cases, please do go to iotnorth.uk/marketplace and register there. And we also have a new forum live there. If you would like to share techie conversations and talk about things that you have and how you can support connectivity, hardware, software, please do get there and have a chat with the community and help us build it out. And if you want to learn about IoT and ask questions with from people that are specialists in that area, then please do join us there. Good morning, Oriol. How are you?
Morning.
So we have the team here joining us. We've got Ben Gilhespy, Andrew Gill, and Oriol. Ben, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, certainly. Thank you, Paul. I'm Ben Gilhespy. I'm Director of Operations for the Engineering and Manufacturing Network. Work with about 300 cross-sector manufacturers in the northeast of England, many of whom would probably be viewed, to be honest, as traditional businesses churning out big lumps of metal, but certainly most of which don't work in the digital space.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ben. Andrew, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Very well, thank you. Thanks for having me here. Yeah, I work at Waterstons. I'm the Northern Regional Head. And I'm particularly interested in manufacturing. So being based in the north, a lot of our clients in this area are manufacturers, as Ben describes there. Mm-hmm. And it's everything from bits of wood to big bits of machinery to vessels that sail around the world. And I think, yeah, a passion of both technology and manufacturing. So thanks for having me here.
Brilliant. Thanks, Andrew. It's great to have you. And Oriol, good morning, sir.
Good morning. So I'm Oriol. I'm based in Barcelona. I'm an industrial IoT consultant and also academic director of an IoT master. And thank you to invite me and to be the infiltrated in this IoT North event. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thanks, Oriol. Well, actually, this show came from the conversations of all three of you that I've had over the past few weeks, that we seem to all be seeing quite a common trend coming through, that it's very easy for technology-minded people and people, especially in IoT space, getting a little bit carried away in talking about the technology and confusing and losing the value. So I just want to have a chat with you all about that. So, you know, Ben, what's the feedback from the manufacturing market on IoT adoption, and you know, what's the challenge on them getting started or expanding with IoT?
Thanks, Paul. It's a really good question, actually. One of the biggest problems that we have is the language, the communication styles that are used. For most of the manufacturers that we deal with, if you are to propose a solution to them, if you propose maybe an initiative to them, whatever that may be, the first thing they think is outputs. How's that going to benefit the business? What ultimately is going to actually work for me? If you go in using heavy language, very descriptive language, perhaps incredibly accurate language, they won't necessarily get that. They're very much solution based. So what is it? Mm-hmm. And what will I achieve if I actually implement this technology? So what are the outputs? They look for benefits, because in their frame, anything that gets in the way of the day-to-day won't be well received. And also anything that they implement is also viewed as an investment as well, which we understand as business owners. If you're putting money into something, then it's an investment. So we've got to try and find a way to create a language that they can understand, where they are viewing this as a solution, not as something that could get in the way of the day-to-day.
That's really interesting. So Andrew, how do you approach getting that message across and helping get people on board and go on this journey of IoT and digital transformation?
I think it can be so difficult, because I think all too often I think you come from two different backgrounds. You know, we've kind of got manufacturing, which in itself, it can be in its own language, it can use its own acronyms, and it can be you know, full of, I guess, language that technologists maybe don't relate to. And then also on the other side, you've got that same challenge in reverse. You've got technologists who love to talk about all of the acronyms and capabilities of their solution. And I think, it's about building that bridge in the middle, really. We talk about benefits there, and I think, when you're pitching a solution, you need to think about benefits, but all too often you forget to go and actually join the client on their side of the table and actually what challenges are they facing in their business. And I think, if you've got a bottleneck in your process, and you need to buy a bigger machine that costs a huge amount of capital investment, a manufacturer will make that investment so long as they can see the return. And
Yeah.
framing some of these technology, solutions in a way that solves the actual problem, or even opens your eyes to a challenge that might not even been that apparent, and then solves the problem, is, I guess, the first trick.
Yeah. So I think, one of the things that I've sort of observed is that the common language is the simple language, keeping it in the middle of the road. As you say, everybody has their own acronyms, and I've got a pet hatred for those at the moment, as my colleagues at AD-Link know. That, so there's a lot of overlap there with acronyms and stuff, so the message gets lost. And then also including a bit too much depth of what's happening in the technical side of things rather than talking about the value. Bring it back to that middle of the road of the value, especially for the first conversations. Oriol, how have you approached this? Because we've had a really good conversation about this. I'm really keen for you to share your insight on how you're trying to help educate to sort of change this working way.
Yeah, at the end, we are talking about a mindset change, no? Because usually we approach to solve problems with a technical mindset. And what we have to do is forget about technical stuff and focus on solving problems. Doesn't matter if it is technology involved or not. At the end of the day, we are talking about business, and business is about win to win. Okay, so we have to find the midpoint, no? That theory that everyone refers to applies here too, no? It's OT people have to approach to IT, IT people have to approach to OT, and business guys have to move to technical stuff, but technical people have to move to business talking. And it means leave technology for not the first conversations. Technology has to appear later. First, focus on the big strategy, and later talk about technology. No?
Yeah,
it's my approach.
So, Andrew, how do we what kind of tactics are you using in regards to getting that hook and engagement with customers? What type of collateral are you finding it's really useful to get that first engagement and get customers excited?
Sure. I think the key thing, I think, building on the point there by Oriol, was joining a customer to understand their challenges. Now, the closer you can get to that core process that runs through the middle of that business, that's not just the production line, but the kind of inquiry through to fulfillment through to being paid. Now, the closer your understanding of that process you can get, the better. It's regardless of whether this is a manufacturer or a professional service business or anything, actually. But with manufacturing, there is at least something you can go and see. You can go and get really close to it and actually really build an understanding. Wear those shoes. I often think, when you sell hammers, everything looks like a nail, the old adage that people will have heard before. Go and actually see what's going on. Stand line side if you can. Watch the stuff coming down the line, and actually your role there isn't to sort of put a technology in. That's actually the last thing you should be thinking about. The goal is to really, really understand and be interested in what's going on, what makes it unique, what bits are actually, you're thinking at the back of your mind, you're thinking this could be better. You want to leave that site thinking all of these things I'd love to be able to come back and help with, but you need to take that away. You need to reflect, mull it over, and work out, I guess, the best combination of how you might solve that problem. And it isn't going to be one technology. It's going to be, a solution overall. And it's probably going to pull down on other bits of your network, which is why I love to, have these types of conversations where it's unlikely you're going to have a single provider. Often, my role and our role at Waterstons is actually to bring in the right people at the right time, I suppose, to solve that ultimate problem. So yeah, I think, for me, it's getting as close to the problem as you can, and if you don't know what the problem is, you need to go and work that out. And I guess everything else follows after that.
Oriol, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, at the end, I want to remark something that Andrew said, because for me, it's one of the keys for the success. And he talked about people. And at the end of the day, we are talking about teams. So
Yeah.
technology could be a change, but what you have to take care, it's about people, about teams. And that spirit of team, and all together, we are going to do whatever. At the end of the day, it's the solution for our problems, no? But this is the key. This is what is going to differentiate a successful and a failure. From
Yeah.
my point of view and in my experience, it's not much more than that, because technology, during the time, it will be replaced. But teams will persist much more, or at least is what we expect to happen.
Yeah.
No? Because today the people movement changed a lot since 20 years ago. No?
Yeah.
But for me, the key is that it's people and that spirit of improvement and that spirit of team. No? And it's more than sum, it's multiply. No? It's exponential at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's a culture change as well, isn't it? Especially,
Yeah.
areas like manufacturing, that when technology is adopted, and they've quite often been leading in the industrial side of change, that it's a big culture change for them. There can be that hesitance of, is this going to replace me as a human? Where actually quite a lot of the time the things that are being put in place are actually going to enable them to be more efficient and actually make their jobs a lot easier. What's your thoughts on that, Ben?
Yeah, I think actually there's been a couple of very interesting comments made there. I think your point has just been made. There's also fear. What's the damage that this is going to do to my business and to my people? There's a fear for people. There was a little comment flashed up on the bottom of the screen a minute or two ago from one of the participants in this one. I think it was Dean, and he said that sometimes the best solutions come from the non-technical people.
Yeah.
And I have to say, from my side, where I've witnessed implementation of various digital strategies within businesses over the years, where I've always seen the greatest success is where a platform or a solution wasn't thrust upon the workplace, but there was actually a discussion with the people that would be using it and therefore benefiting from it, so they can fully understand and on board with the process before it's brought in. But Andrew made a good point before as well about, sit with the people on the shop floor, if that's where the solution lies, sit with the people that are going to implement it. And also, you've got two difficulties here. One, how do you get through the door of the business in the first place? That's hard. The last year has seen, I think, quite a significant change in how we think to a more digital world. I'm working with very traditional businesses who, if you'd have said 2 years ago, you're going to have to start using Zoom and Teams and goodness knows what else, they would have, almost recoiled in horror. But now it's part of the normal. We obviously don't want too many of these situations to sort of to push technology forward. But to get through the door, you've got to be able to provide at least a nuance of a solution to a problem that they have. Not a title, not, look, here's this fantastic product, a solution. Then get to work with the people who'll be using it. And I think that was Andrew, and Oriol made the point before as well.
Yeah.
Work with the people who are going to use it, bring them on board, and then actually the solution will pretty much sell itself into the business.
Yeah, it's one of the things that AD Link have done with the Vision Solutions is they've gone down on the floor, and to build the models, the vision models, is working with the guys in that space, recording what they're doing, but then also talking to them and understanding things that can happen that probably haven't happened whilst they've been recording. Is, oh yeah, well, if that light bulb goes out, or we're doing big boxes today, but next week we're doing small boxes, all that type of stuff. It helps helps you build out that solution using the intelligence from the personnel. They are key. They're not to be replaced. It's about efficiency and making less mistakes. We got a question come through here from Yuru. I'm excited to hear this. The more people using simple words, the better. Have you got any good examples of companies who have done this well on their external comms? Andrew?
Yeah, sure. I think it just builds a little bit on that. Like, great question. And I think so often organizations maybe lack that confidence that they've actually done some of this already. So we talked about the challenges through the pandemic and getting into factories and such like. I've been running an event called the Manufacturing Forum, and the idea was that it was a short form, quite a small number of people, and it brought manufacturers and it brought technologists around a table, and we tackled a challenge and we tackled a success story. And what we did was we asked people to come along And all of these people who maybe rated themselves as not hugely digital mature or kind of a prowess in this area came along and shared stories, and some of them were just unbelievable actually. You think when you stick Industry 4 above it, it sounds like no one's ever going to get there and it's this huge thing that Siemens can push. You actually talk to manufacturers and you say, where have you recently used a little bit more data than you would have otherwise? And you've maybe got it from 2 different places, and you actually, you've done something different as a result. Wow, all of a sudden you're doing data-driven decision making, and everyone's going, really? That doesn't seem that seems really an overstatement. It was just a spreadsheet. Yeah, but it pulled data from the production line from 2 places, and you're doing something different as a result. And that's exactly the sort of thing we want to hear. Now, I can't quote the exact examples here, so sorry, but I guess that's a really good point, though, of where these examples exist, but they're often buried beneath a confidence that people lack around some of these terms. So it's a personal campaign, but hopefully I'll have something I'll put out on LinkedIn soon, but there'll be a document that I'll actually go through some of these, I'm going to call them like modest success stories around examples of where this has been done already, where it may have even been done in your own organization, and you can start kind of yielding the kind of, yep, we're doing it. So it's not that hard. And, I think that's how things start, that confidence in the people, that spirit of team, I think you call it. Oren.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely brilliant. It'd be great to have a chat with you on another breakfast show, maybe with some of the members of that forum as well, to talk about that experience. Just one here from Dean Marsh. Bingo, we have used IoT to turn manual processes into automated, which allows staff to focus resources where needed. Thanks for that, Dean. Loving the comments. And just a comment back from Yuru. That is a good point. Thanks, Andrew. Please do, if you have any questions, we've got another 5 minutes or so. If you'd like to ask any more questions with the guys, then please do fire them over in the comments. Just a little bit of a pitch for IoT North, really. It's one of the reasons why I had the marketplace built with the great support of Newcastle University, was to help really simplify that messaging to get the door open and get people understanding the value of it. So, we've got the marketplace now live. It's free to register and get your use cases on there. We've removed branding to take away presumption. We received feedback that there was presumption, if IBM have a use case on there, it's like, oh, that's going to be super expensive. They may be actually willing to support you in getting the case study through the door. And also smaller businesses that are actually really good specialists in the tech space. And I've actually got really good examples of actually getting this stuff working and succeeding for customers. But if they got an unknown brand, then it's kind of put people off a little bit. So we removed that. This is all about the value with the marketplace. And we also have the forum there as well for you to connect and chat about anything from techie stuff to just asking questions. Be that dumb person in the room and ask the dumbest questions, because you'll get the most value out of them. And that's one of the things that we really want to help everybody with. The process with the marketplace is simply register. We will validate. We review every single one. We turn your use case live, and then we do the lead generation for you. So we'll socially market, work with partners like Ben, and get the relevant ones in front of the right people, and then connect you, and then helping you win business in IoT the right way, through the value. So on the final question for today, just before we wrap up, so how does a technical-minded person learn to change their mindset with communication, Oriol?
Okay. At the end of the day, it's because there is no other way. I mean, when I was a child, I started loving technology, and I understood my error was thinking that technology was the purpose, and I had to change that mindset, because the technology is not the purpose. The technology is just another tool that is going to help you on getting your purpose faster, better, cheaper, whatever. But it's nothing else than a tool. And from a technical guy like me, this is difficult to understand. It took me around 20 years to understand that simple stuff. But the last 10 years, I noticed a complete different outcomes in my professional career. For example, I created a company which had an industrial IoT platform. It's a private platform, not in the cloud. And thanks to that idea, everything changed, because as we said in this conversation, the first thing and the most important thing is sit down with the customer, with the users, and completely and deeply understand what they need. And after that, retire to your thinking room and start thinking how genuinely you can help them. And another day you will talk about technology, but first of all, genuinely understand how you can help them. And this is the mindset change that I had to do the last 11 years, to be concrete.
Andrew, anything to add?
Yeah, I guess I was just giggling to myself about a conversation we once had, and I think it's that shift, and actually that shift of viewpoint, that shift of perspective. And actually, some of the naming of some of these technologies can actually just show that up to an extent. And I'm going to mention that edge we talked about, Paul. So, for very simply, people mention the term edge computing. Now, edge suggests that it's near the edge; it's further away from the point that you're talking about. So, naively, I'm sat in my manufacturing environment here. And Paul's come to me to mention edge. I'm immediately thinking this thing's close to the precipice. It's about to fall off somewhere. It's really long way away. When actually it really should be called near computing in very simple terms. It's the antithesis, and the only thing that's different is the perspective. The technologist thinks that the edge is out there, which it is, but the kind of the end user and the business and the organization, it's really, really close. So close or near computing, and I think it's a really good example because clearly the term is a term now.
Yeah.
But it's a viewpoint thing and it's a mindset thing, and I think just some of them terms, really help.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the frustrating things, and I think I've spoken to all you about it when I've went on one of my rants when we've been catching up. That a lot of the terminology just really clouds. It makes it difficult for people to buy into it, And I think the recent Edge one with telecoms. Terminology of edge and with the support of cloud, and it becomes down to a dollar fight. Who's got the most marketing money to get that message out there on who's going to win? When edge computing's been around for a number of years, and it is what it is. They could have thought of something else, but it's a technology known term that they're now turning into a marketing terminology.
The subtlety there, though, I think is for the translation to be done by the likes of us, isn't it? It's to go. It does get called this, but you don't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
What you really need to know is it just means it's close to you, and then that's it. You've done the
because they both have great values. It's they really do have great values, but and bringing them together, even more value. It's even more powerful. But having brought in same names for the same areas, it just creates confusion. Hey, we are coming up to time here. Hold on, we've got a couple of questions popped up. So Fennec Smith, thanks for the comment, Fennec. This is so on point. We are interested in this. We are currently trying to help the NHS solve use case with real-time data tracking medical devices across hospitals and the community. Then these use cases have all been articulated from their staff in workshops and heartbeat meetings. Fennec, by all means, reach out to Andrew or myself. Love to have a chat with you about that one. That'd be really interesting. If we can help you anyway, if I can help orchestrate any relationships for you to help there, be more than happy to do that. Connect with me, Paul Wheels, WEALLS, on LinkedIn, and love to have a chat. We've got a couple more here come through as well. Yiru, Paul, I would love to see if you would evangelize the security conversations too. I'd more than happily evangelize about everything and anything to get people really moving forward with IoT. Maybe next week's breakfast show will be security. I'm going to be organizing it tomorrow. We have thanks, Yiru. We have the IoT North monthly meetup happening on Tuesday at 6 p.m., which is more of an intricate technical meetup. So any techies out there that want to hear about new tech and how people are adopting it and using it, then check that out on Meetup, IoT North. You'll find about 5 of our communities on there. We bring them all together. There's over 5,000 members now. So great to have you on board for that. Gentlemen, I think that's time. Thanks very much for your time this morning. It's been an absolutely great show. Really enjoyed it. And thanks for sharing your insight. And looks forward to catching up with you soon. Everybody, if you'd like to follow us on Twitter, it's IoT North U. Or LinkedIn, we have a number of profiles on there, but IoT North or myself. Thanks very much, guys. Great. Oh, we've got one more comment pop through. No, we haven't. Oh, looks like you're not looking at the live chat. Hold on. We've got somebody wanting to ask a question. What are the usual connectivity challenges within the manufacturing environment? Wow. Who wants to take that one? Oriol, I'm passing it to you. Ben, hold on. Ben's going to answer it.
I was just one of the big problems that we encounter is, a lot of them are perhaps the building's been established for many, many years. It's on an old industrial estate, and quite frankly, the connectivity isn't there to facilitate the normal operations of the business, let alone implementing more digital strategies. So sometimes it's literally the cable going into the factory that can be the problem.
Yeah, I've seen that quite a lot. And then you have the challenges inside the building. One with a very large engine manufacturer I worked with a few years ago. They had the connectivity into the building, but getting from different parts of the building was just an absolute nightmare for them. They were trying everything new. Oriol, your thoughts?
Let me add 2 words: legacy integration. This is my summary about that.
I guess none of these challenges are insurmountable often. I mean, some of them are. You're going to have to dig up a lot of road there to get that fiber laid. But sometimes, frame that in the value piece. Keeping the email flowing into a manufacturing company wasn't important. But the second that it's keeping that real-time decision making, and it's keeping the kind of live status and the orders that are all really well integrated with the full supply chain, it becomes a critical part of that plant. And then things will happen to make sure that connectivity challenge, I suppose, is resolved. So I think framing that, Charlie, in the challenge sense, it kind of depends on what you need the connectivity to be.
Yeah, brilliant, Charlie. I hope that helped. Guys, thanks again. It's been a great show, and look forward to catching up with everybody soon.